Well, speaking of difficult times, this Prime Minister's policies have given us a 32% increase in violent crime, a 90% increase in gang crime. Murder rates now rising again this year, year after year. And what's his solution? To ban Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle. In fact, he wants to ban hundreds of thousands of hunting rifles and spend hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. Why won't he leave hunters alone and go after the real criminals?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've been very clear that we are not targeting law-abiding hunters and fishers. We're not going after shotguns or rifles. We have banned military-style assault weapons, and unfortunately, Conservative politicians continue to mislead Canadians, to base things on fear, and to be focused on making assault weapons legal again in this country. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to take the necessary measures to keep Canadians safe while respecting the rights of law-abiding Canadians. That's what Canadians expect. That's what we've been doing.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I get my information from the amendment that his government tabled in the committee.
That's right.
And I have it right here. A list of the firearms that he wants to ban includes the Webley and Scott wild fowl gun. Fowl as in wild turkeys and wild ducks. That's right in the list that his government put forward of guns he wants to ban. Mr. Speaker, why is he more concerned with protecting wild turkeys from hunters than he is concerned about protecting Canadians from criminals?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we see once again that the Conservative Party is deep in the pockets of the American gun lobby. The reality is, Canadians know that we can and will continue to respect law-abiding hunters.
What a clown. Disinformation.
Should be ashamed.
So you have to brief on foreign interference. Like these guys. You're at the pocket of the turkey lobby.
I'm looking to the whips for some support, and I think I got some. Thank you. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, maybe start from the beginning so we can hear the answer.
Mr. Speaker, once again, we see the extent to which the Conservative Party of Canada is in the pocket of the gun lobby. We will continue to move forward in responsible ways while respecting the choices of law-abiding hunters and fishers and people who use guns responsibly to be able to continue with their rifles and shotguns, while at the same time we prevent those military-style assault weapons that were designed to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time from being used in this country. The Conservatives continue to try and bring those back. We will stand strongly on better gun control.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it's right on page 294 of his proposed amendments that he wants to ban the Webley and Scott wild fowl gun. Again, this is a firearm specifically designed to go after turkeys and ducks. These are tools for farmers and hunters, many of whom are First Nations who rely on country food in order to feed themselves. But he wants to ban them and turn those people into criminals. Now, I'm taking my information directly from these amendments. Why won't he stand up and admit that he wants to ban hunting rifles and shotguns rather than going after the real criminals?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, again, the Conservatives do a good job of talking about their supposed tough-on-crime agenda, and that single-minded approach they have is unfortunately wrong. As we've seen, supposedly tough-on-crime legislation that keeps getting struck down by the courts doesn't do a thing to keep our communities safer. That's why we're focused on smart legislation to ensure that Canadians are protected and making sure that our communities are safer. We're going to continue to move forward on responsible gun control while respecting the rights of law-abiding hunters and farmers.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister ignoring a 32% increase in violent crime and a 90% increase in gang violence. His solution to those is to ban hunting rifles that our farmers and Indigenous people and rural folks use. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister finally target real, violent, reoffending criminals instead of targeting our hunters and our farmers? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, our bill C5, which the Conservatives voted against, made it possible for judges to increase sentences for hardened criminals. It gave judges the flexibility to ensure that criminals are punished and jailed while at the same time respecting the legal principles that apply to all. We will continue to put forward legislation that will protect our communities while the Conservatives keep trying to bring assault weapons back into our communities. Mr. Speaker, we have excellent firearms control in Canada, but I think that the Liberals have lost their heads. We proposed an amendment to C21 that would apply to hunting rifles. The Minister of Public Safety said that, no, we will not be banning hunting rifles. So the Liberals are saying one thing with the right hand and the other with the left hand. So we'd like to know, has the Prime Minister seen the list of weapons on the amendment, which includes hunting weapons? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, let's be crystal clear. We are not targeting owners of hunting rifles. We know that assault-style weapons have no place in our communities, and that's why we've moved ahead with a ban on assault weapons in this country, a ban that the Conservative country wants to overturn, but we are going to stand firm. At the same time, we're respecting hunters and farmers, but we want our communities to be safer, and we want those assault-style weapons banned. The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Haut-Saint-Charles. That's the problem, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister is talking about assault weapons, but we're talking about hunting weapons that you shoot squirrels with. These are not assault-style weapons. They need to have a realistic view of all the weapons they're trying to ban. They're banning too much. They're banning things that are used for hunting and protecting wildlife in Canada. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we will always be there to protect Canadians' safety. We will always be there to protect our communities. We will make the necessary investments, and this is part of our plan to, yes, improve firearms control to protect Canadians, protect families, and protect communities all across the country. We have moved ahead with a plan to ban assault-style weapons while respecting the rights of hunters and farmers to use rifles, hunting rifles.
Going in St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal Prime Minister is saying he's protecting public safety, but the crime rates are skyrocketing in this country. Gang-related homicides have not been this high since 2005. Violent crime is up by a third since he took government 7 years ago. Canadians are seeing this every day in the news in our communities, and the Liberals have now brought forward a new plan for fighting crime. Do you want to know what it is, Mr. Speaker? It's going after hunters and farmers. The tools that hunters and farmers use every day safely in this country. That is what the Liberal Prime Minister is targeting now, Mr. Speaker. So when is he going to stop this unfair attack on our hunters and farmers and start going after the real problem, gangsters and criminals in our cities, Mr. Speaker?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, we know that a responsible approach to keeping our communities safe needs to have multiple facets, and that's exactly what we're doing by freezing the market on handguns, by investing more in CBSA so they can interdict illegal firearms coming into this country, and yes, moving forward to ensure that it is no longer legal to buy, sell, own or use military-style assault weapons in this country, something the Conservative Party wants to reverse. We're on top of that continuing to invest in police officers despite the fact that the Conservatives slashed resources for policing, and we're continuing to invest in community programs and safety.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Speaker, the Prime Minister continues to deny that he's going after hunting rifles, but I'm looking at the list right now, and it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of perfectly common, reasonable, and legitimate hunting rifles, Mr. Speaker. And you don't have to take my word for it. Take hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands already of hunters that have reached out to MPs across every party in this chamber, including Liberal members from rural Canadian seats. I know that they've received these emails as well, Mr. Speaker. No one believes that going after hunters and farmers is going to solve the crime issue under this Prime Minister's watch, Mr. Speaker. Well, perhaps the Prime Minister believes that he's just trying to change the channel from his failed record on public safety. When will he stop this unfair...
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, if you want to talk about a failed record on public safety, one needs only look at the previous Conservative government that continued to put forward a supposed tough-on-crime agenda that couldn't get any of those supposedly tougher laws to actually stick, Mr. Speaker. The fact that they kept getting struck down time and time again by the courts indicated how wrong they are, not just in their legislation, but in their attempts to keep Canadians safe. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the aisle, we're focused on evidence-based policy. We're focused on ensuring that we're supporting communities, we're investing in police, and we're strengthening them.
The honourable